Okay, so first of all, an apology. I really apologize for not having more content up. I really wanted to have more. I was hoping to recap postseason games. I was hoping to do a bunch of stuff, but I just haven't had time and I haven't had motivation. It just has been a really, really hard time. And, I'm not going to rehash it out. I didn't talk about the fact that one of my very best friends, who was a pilot for Alaska Airlines, was found dead in his hotel the day before my mom died. It was actually the last conversation me and my mom had was about it. Um, Undiagnosed heart disease, and that was hard. I have not really been able to process that grief. And my great uncle died as well, my grandma's brother, who, yeah, life's not fair. The good news is, and I apologize for boring you guys with this stuff. The good news is we finally get to have a service on Saturday for mom. It takes a long time to get a body from Hawaii, a lot of time and a lot of money, and it is finally able to happen. We were hoping to do it the Saturday, of the 14th, but that didn't happen. But that'll be good. That'll be a great closure for our family. I wish it wasn't necessary, but this is the way life works. Okay. Please check out the video I did with Christy Lemire talking about the Sandlot. I will link to it, but if you're subscribed to the channel, and please hit like and please hit subscribe, we really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. We can call it we. I'm sure you guys appreciate it somewhat. I know a lot of you people really love that movie, and I get it. I'm glad you like it. Just give it a listen to support the channel and also hear maybe why we're not as big fans. Christy Lemire is one of the best film critics in the world. In my personal opinion, the best film critic in the world. She's also a friend, so I am a little bit biased, but she writes for RogerEbert.com, Breakfast All Day podcast with Alonzo Giraldi, who is also one of the best critics in the world. Give it a listen, give it a watch, give it a whatever you're going to do. Please and thank you. Okay, I've done enough avoiding the subject. There were, I believe, 56. It might be 57. I should have that number right in front of me. I don't. Players who played for the Seattle Mariners in 2023. And we are going to recap them, every single one of them. Every single one of them, starting with the lowest war, moving all the way up to Julio. So we've got this guy, and then we will end with that Julio. Okay. Kolten Wong. If you're looking for some positives, positive number one, the world did not end. As terrible as Kolten Wong was, kept on spinning. Number two, positive. The guys they traded for Kolten Wong are not good. Jesse Winker's demise from being one of the best hitters in baseball, and I realize he was playing in a bandbox. I get that. Cincinnati is as friendly a confines as they get, or among the most friendly confines, I guess I should say. But he's gone from being like a fantastic offensive player to a bad one in very little time. And Abraham Toro continues to look like organizational fodder. So the world keeps going, and players who gave up for him, not too good. End of positives. I truly don't know if you can overstate how big of a disaster Kolten Wong was in just 216 plate appearances. That's all it took for me to call him a disaster. And not me calling him a disaster subjectively, objectively. A 468 OPS over 216 plate appearances. 165, 241, 227 slash. It was a debacle. And on top of that absolute, let's call it a turd Sunday, he was a bad defensive player. The belief that he was going to rebound from the poor defensive metrics that he put up the year before didn't happen. Didn't even kind of happen. And when he was in the middle infield with JP Crawford, who I love, that's my boy, that's my son. They were one of the worst defensive middle infields in baseball, in my personal opinion, by my eye test and by some metrics too. And the fact that Wong then went on to the Dodgers and had an 853 OPS. It was only 34 plate appearances. I know. But it also hit as many homers in those 34 plate appearances with the Dodgers as he did with Seattle. I mean, that's laugh out loud funny, folks. That's a if you don't laugh, you're going to cry type of thing. Just an absolute unmitigated disaster. And this is not a case of Kolten Wong being unlucky. Now, you have to be a little unlucky to hit 165 in 216 plate appearances, unless you're striking out every other at bat. 46 strikeouts in 216 plate appearances is, not like beyond the pale, but it suggests that there was some bad luck. But he deserved his bad numbers. Expected weighted on base average of 267 is among the worst in baseball. Expected batting average of 214 is very close to among the worst in baseball. Average exit velocity of 85.6. He barreled the ball 1.7% of the time. He hit the ball hard 27% of the time. Really, the only thing that he had going for him was that he didn't whiff a lot. He was well above average in that. But outside of that, there's nothing positive we can say about Kolten Wong. Other than the fact that, look, I don't blame Kolten Wong per se. I mean, ultimately, it's on him, right? Ultimately, he's the baseball player. He's the dude who is not succeeding. But it's not like Kolten Wong wasn't trying. It's not like this was a lack of motivation thing. It's not like this was a disastrous clubhouse fit thing. He just wasn't good. He wasn't good. And while there were certainly signs that Kolten Wong was a little on the decline, nobody expected this. You can say all you want that you expected Kolten Wong to not be successful. You did not predict Kolten Wong to have a 468 OPS with the Seattle Mariners. You didn't. You didn't. And if you did, you either one of three things. You got lucky, you have a time machine that you should be using for better use, or you just want the Mariners to be bad. It's one of the three. I'm neither of those. But I certainly saw signs from Kolten Wong in 2022. I didn't get to watch him play every day, but I certainly saw signs from Kolten Wong that suggested this isn't definitely not a player on the upswing. And there's a good chance that this can crater a little bit. Didn't expect it this much, though. There's no denying that. Nobody could have. To go from a 770 OPS with 15 homers to a 519 OPS total, and that includes his 853 with the Dodgers. And look, his play with the Dodgers, small sample it may be, gives you at least a little bit of an example of that. He's not totally done. Now he's going to have to be a backup for the rest of his career. Who knows if he wants to do that, you know. But there's been a smidgen of a suggestion that, hey, Kolten Wong could be a decent bench bat for somebody. So, of course, the biggest issue with Kolten Wong is the fact that Seattle Mariners did not sign one of the big name middle infielders. And there were some big name middle infielders. One of them's still playing. And look, I still don't know how interested any of those guys were in being Seattle Mariners. I'm pretty sure one of them had no interest in being a Seattle Mariner. I won't say who. But I don't think the Mariners tried very hard either. And the difference of Kolten Wong, even with guys like Turner and Bogarts having up and down seasons, successful at the end for sure. The difference of having one of those four instead of what you got from Kolten Wong, something I'll think about a lot. And you can argue whether or not that's fair. Of course you can. But I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. Yeah. So if we were going to give a letter grade, I mean, this is like, if you guys remember the old strong bad emails, this is an F minus minus. Wasn't good defensively. Didn't provide any value on the bases. And a 468 OPS in a not small sample size of 216 plate appearances, 8 extra base hits. That is an OPS plus, folks, of 34. 100 is average. So Kolten Wong would have had to literally triple his production to be an average player. I'd love to tell you these are, well, they're going to keep getting better because, number one, if it got worse, heaven help me. And two, that's just how it works. Like, we're going to keep going up. But yeah, Kolten Wong is an F minus minus fair. Am I being too nice? Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Have another video tomorrow. It won't be fun either. Talk soon.